In the 15 years that I've been working at the city and at the mini city hall, I think what's different about this economic crisis is that it's gone on for a long time. People are coming for help that have never needed to ask for help before.
Well, since the beginning of the Great Recession back in 2008, we've seen a tremendous increase in need over the last few years. And they include such things as eviction prevention dollars. Certainly the food banks, during the period from 2008 to 2010, the food bank increase was dramatic, almost 50%. At the same time, we have lost a lot of funding for our food purchases, and most of the funding that we lost went to buying things like milk and fresh produce, which we think is essential to keep families healthy. We get a lot of support from our community, but a lot of the support we get is in terms of staples. So not having the dollars to go out and buy these kinds of really much needed items is very difficult for us.
Despite what some people think, there are a lot of homeless on the east side. For example, on the east side winter shelter, we served 252 unduplicated men. And our shelter, which has 35 beds, is always full. We see a number of trends that are ongoing. We see more veterans now. We see a lot of older folks coming into our shelter who have been working all their lives but lost their jobs and can't find another one, partly because they're older.
I don't think I've ever seen a time when it's been quite like this. And I think more than surprising, I'm thinking hidden trends. We don't really see these numbers pop up in our unemployment figures in our region. These are people that are underemployed, that used to have a full-time job with benefits and are now living on maybe 25% to 50% of their previous income.
We have one person, for instance, who came across my desk the other day, and he was an accountant who had a $70,000 a year job. And when he lost his job, when it was cut back, he assumed that because of his skills and experience, he'd be able to get another job. And he's been out of work a long, long time.
Their health care issues are around fear because they no longer have health care. They're worried about getting sick. They're worried about losing their jobs if they get sick.
Last year, we turned away almost 1,150 families who came to us for housing that we could not meet their needs. And the big reason is that there's not a lot of low-income housing in North and East King County.
A classic story that illustrates what we've been talking about is a man named Dave who came to us. He'd been working in the appliance industry for all his life. Got laid off because the appliance business went down as the housing business went down. Lost his housing, lived in his car for a little while, then came to stay with us in our shelter.
So I think there's a new normal that we're seeing. I think that people's expectations about their lives getting better has changed. I think people feel stuck. They're losing hope.
We just ended a budget session that didn't do as much harm to the social services networks that it could have done. But we all have to remember that it didn't start with this budget session. We were already in a declining revenue position within the state of Washington. I think if I understand the statistics correctly, if you go back to about 1967, that's the level of revenues adjusted for the current dollar, but the revenue dollars that we're dealing with now. Our population has grown significantly. The expectations of government services have grown significantly, but in real dollars we're spending significantly less. That's the issue, and that will be the issue going forward.
I think for the new normal for us, we see the fact that that government cutbacks are going to be long-term. We see a lot of the minimum wage jobs that our men have been able to get back into the workforce being taken by folks who have been displaced at higher levels.
It's a bygone era when we can rely on state and federal dollars. It's an era where we in our communities, that is the faith community, the business community, the social service agencies, the governmental units, must band together to first own and then solve our community problems.
What I'd like local leaders to know is that what we do, the services we provide here, and the services that our other partners provide help build a strong, healthy community, something that benefits everyone who lives in that community. So at HopeLink, one of our major goals is to help people move towards self-sufficiency. As people are able to get the skills and education they need to do that, they become less dependent in the long run on public support. And we think that builds healthier, stronger communities for everyone.
Granted, there are challenges, endless challenges around us, but if you look around the community, you will see those places where the light is shining, where hope is there, where passion is coming together to make things happen.
For local leaders, I think the most important thing I'd like them to know is the problem is still large and it's still there. Although on the east side it's not very visible, we have lots of needs on the east side. And homelessness is one of those things that if you can help solve it, it's really cost effective. The combination of the agencies on the east side are really doing a terrific job, and we can get our hands around it if we get the right kind of support.
We work very hard in the nonprofit community to create partnerships. We've done that for a long time, but now we're also looking at public-private partnerships in terms of having corporations come in and other entities come in and really help us provide specific targeted services for things that we're seeing the need for in our community. And I think that that opens up a whole new realm and is a real opportunity for nonprofits as we move forward.
I think things like the Nourishing Network, where we're seeing that really is an example of the community beginning to own the problem and working collectively in little networks to make it, to change the perspective of hunger in our communities.
One of the things that's really working is the fact that we see more affordable housing coming online. Folks like Imagine Housing are really stepping up and addressing the needs of single bedroom apartments, and that's made a big difference on the east side. We need to really continue to support that.
So we're always encouraged by the happy ending stories at HopeLink because we love to see people getting their lives back on track. And we also love to see the community and the way the community embraces the work that we're doing and how it's helping us help these people move forward.
You know, one thing in closing I would like to say is thank you. This local community has done a tremendous amount to support all of the agencies on the east side working to end homelessness. You're making a big difference. Keep going, keep advocating. The east side community stands above any that I know of in really making a difference in dealing with the human services issues on the east side. Thank you for what you're doing.